Hello folks, welcome back to my channel, The Sarthak Show, where we discuss about tech, career, product and life. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mandakini. She is working as an Amazon product manager. And today we will learn and uncover the learnings about product management, how you can grow about it, what is the perks of networking, what is the process to get into Amazon, what are the thinking and principles behind Amazon, and how one can identify themselves in the product management field with this kind of thing. So, uh, if you have not even subscribed to this channel yet, press the hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon near that so that you get a notification every time I put a new video. And without further ado, let's start with the video. Welcome back to my channel, The Sarthak Show, where we discuss about tech, career, product, and life. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mandakini. She is working as a program manager at Amazon San Diego, California office. And today we will learn more about what was her journey and what are the tips that she can share about how you can move into FAANG and product management. What are the things that you can observe and move into this space? And what are the hurdles that she faced and how you can overcome and know that beforehand. So thank you so much, Mandakini, for joining us and sharing your life experiences with us. I would want to extend the warm regards and start with, can you share a little bit more about your professional background and past journeys?
Sure. Thanks. Thanks so much, Sarthak, for having me on your show. And of course, appreciate the opportunity. So, in the interest of time and for everyone who is, of course, either watching it or listening to it, my name is Mandakini Gupta. By education, I have a degree in engineering. Don't get very impressed because, as we say, if you throw a stone, every second person on the road is perhaps an engineer. Okay. But having said that, of course, the experience definitely has helped me grow. So I have a degree in engineering in electronics and telecommunication. And I am also an athlete. I am a field hockey player and I am a sprinter, which of course propelled me to work with multiple sports management companies in India a few years back before I moved to the United States in 2013 to pursue my master's.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a dual specialization from Georgia State University in Atlanta, Georgia, in business analysis and market research, and was also awarded the Dean's Award for Academic Excellence. And pursuant to that, I moved into the healthcare field, working with one of United States' largest healthcare insurance companies, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So essentially, my journey began as a process consultant. I have always been drawn to processes, how things work, end to end, right, from beginning of something to the end and to be able to create an impact. So that's how I really became got into process, and of course went on, did multiple Six Sigma certifications, and also worked as a business analyst for a significant number of years. And the pandemic in 2020 propelled me to, take a hard look at my career and determine whether I was headed in the right direction and whether what I was doing is what I wanted to do even 10 years down the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the answer was no. And at that given point in time, I spoke to almost 52 individuals who were either product managers, heads of product, APMs, directors of products, VP, and so on and so forth, and determined what my transferable skills were to be able to get into product. And I think I am now literally fulfilling one of my childhood dreams, because as an athlete, I've always wanted to work with Nike and build shoes, which of course essentially is a tangible product, right?
Right.
So today I am working at an organization where I get to work with both processes and products we build to be able to fulfill customer delight and help them give what they're looking for. So yeah, so that has been my journey,
Yeah, phenomenal, I think.
professionally, up to where I am today. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal journey and glad to hear that there are so many such events. And I think audience will be gaining so much today from this podcast, coming
Thank you.
from your
Thank you.
background with helping a lot of different students. I think that is the amazing part of it, right? But
Thank you.
I want to touch base more upon exactly the extension of the last point that you mentioned. But how did you get into product management? What was the motivation behind it? What made you move into this domain?
Okay. So, I always believe that in life, either you need to know exactly what you want, or you need to know exactly what you don't want. More often than not, if you know what you don't want, what you want becomes clear. And I fell in that category.
Mm-hmm.
So I was clear about what I didn't want in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is not to say that what I didn't want is bad. It's just not something that would work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, in essence, I did not want to be a project manager or a scrum master,
Mm-hmm.
which means I had to identify other avenues that worked for me. And one of the ways, at least, that I chose to identify those avenues was what interests me. Okay. And when I say what interests me, it wasn't about whether healthcare interested me, whether, retail interested me, but what kind of work interested me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I evaluated that, it was very independent of the income.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I remember that when I came to know, or when I identified for myself that product is the direction I wanted to get into, I was willing to take a step back in my career and even restart my career as an APM. And
Mm-hmm.
typically, APM roles are taken up by individuals who are just about finishing grad school.
Correct.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I was literally going to be pushing my career, if not more, a decade behind where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was willing to do that because that's how clear I was that I wanted to get into product management. So, to answer your question, why product management? It came from the basic, innate sense and personality that I have, which is to solve for people. Which is to provide a solution. And that is exactly what a product manager does, right? So,
Right.
as a product manager at any organization, when you talk about a product and you're working backwards,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that we do a lot at Amazon, we have a concept of working backwards from what the customer wants.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing that, you are essentially providing a solution for someone, right?
Right.
Whatever the problem could be, it could be in the financial space, it could be in the retail space, it could be in the healthcare space, whatever space it is, it's about providing a solution.
Right.
So that born out of that innate desire of mine to provide a solution,
Mm-hmm.
that piece matched in the professional world, it matched what a product manager does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And the second piece, of course, was about my desire to be able to build things. They could be tangible, which is hardware products, or they could be non-tangible, which
Mm-hmm.
could be process related, right? Because
Right.
improving a process in itself is also influencing a particular product or a program, which ultimately is going to help a customer.
Correct.
Right. So I combined what my strengths were, what my desires were, and what I want to do over a period of time. Right. And since I am an Amazonian today, I will quote Jeff Bezos, where a number of years ago, when he had just about started Amazon, and in one of his initial interviews, he said that his goal for whatever he does in life is to be able to reduce the fact that he should be uncomfortable at the age of 80, wondering that, okay, he could have done something, but he didn't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he is reducing the gap between what he wants to do and what he could have done. And I think that should be a motto for each one of us, right? Because we don't want to be 80 and say that, I wish I had done this, and, I wish I had taken the chance. So even if I had to kind of push my career back 10 years, but if I was doing what I wanted to do, I would eventually be happy about it, and I would cover up that time. So that is what propelled me to move into product.
I think amazing. That is so true. I definitely agree with that. So I think whenever you move into the direction where you want to work or you like the work that you do, that is a motivation in itself. You don't get any regrets. You make up for the time, and the productivity or the output is in significant amount, because whatever work you are doing in your daily life, if it is not aligning with you or aligning with your mindset, goals, or aspirations, I think that can be reflected back on your work as well. And if you are working in the direction, uh,
Absolutely. If you enjoy what you're doing, you'll be more productive even in those 8 hours, and you may not need to work more than 8 hours, right?
Right.
But even if you do, you're not going to regret it because you know why you're doing what you're doing. So essentially, whether it's product management, project management, whatever, anyone who's listening to this podcast, I think my recommendation to them will be whatever line you choose to work in,
Mhm.
you need to know why you're doing that. Initially, you could be doing something for money because you're at that age where you want to make money, you want to spend it on yourself. But eventually, we will have to look beyond money because money can only give us that much satisfaction. I'm
Right.
not saying don't earn money; it is important,
Mhm.
right? However, just imagine if you are going to be at you know a VP level, director level, so you're making all the money that you want, but if you're not happy with the kind of work you're doing, then all that money also essentially wouldn't mean anything, right?
Right.
So that is very that's a very important piece to balance.
Yeah, definitely. I think money is important, but what work you do is a bigger motivation sometimes. And I have felt that,
Absolutely.
and I have, I think, in my short stint, I have chosen offers where the money was less, but the work that I am doing is creating a huge impact, and that is what makes me happier day by day. That and I have seen countless examples where my friends or known ones have taken offers with lesser compensation, but at their work they like it, they love it, and still today, if I place the same offer in front of them, do you want to go by this route or that route, they will still pick the same offer, because at the end of the day the work in itself is so good that it doesn't matter whatever the money was behind it at
Yeah,
that level.
absolutely,
And today
absolutely.
they have reached at that level that the money is far more behind what was offered that time, and they're loving it, because whatever they were loving it, that really came as an output, and everybody loved it. They also progressed like exponentially in that career path and so forth. Yeah, that is a good recommendation, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, extended towards so you mentioned that you got three FAANG offers, but I wanted to pick base, like what was the journey behind those offers. And there is often people say around that networking helps in getting a lot of different referrals, offers, and help you in that direction. So how did networking help you get these offers, and what is the significance of a networking as a person?
Okay. Oh, well, that can definitely be a podcast in itself, but I'll definitely answer that. So,
Mhm.
networking, I want to say this as a disclaimer that while networking starts off primarily because most people are looking for jobs, okay, it doesn't end there. That's one thing.
Mhm.
Number two is that networking should not be done just because you're going to reach out to someone with the intent that this individual is going to give you a referral.
Correct.
Because essentially, networking is about building relationships.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm talking purely, of course, professional relationships, however, meaningful relationships, where before you reach out to anyone, you must be willing to add some value.
Mhm.
Okay, most people, when they want to network, they reach out to the person in front expecting that the person in front owes them a favor.
Mhm.
No one owes anyone a favor. Just because you reach out to me, or Sarthak, someone may reach out to you, or you reach out to anyone else, the person you are reaching out to does not owe you any favor. In fact, they are not even obligated to respond to you.
Right.
So if someone is taking out the time to respond to you, it is because of their own choice. And
Mhm.
perhaps they feel that they are going to be able to add some value to you. So in a networking context, it becomes very crucial that when you reach out to someone, you are able to add value to the individual. And it doesn't have to be that you have to be at that same level in terms of title or experience. It could be something as small as complimenting them on something that you saw on their LinkedIn profile. Okay. Or perhaps commenting on their post, whatever it is. It can be something very small,
Right.
right? It does not have to be something elaborate. Now, where networking played an important role for me and can for you also is, I'll explain this with an example. Okay. Now, more often than not, we have heard this, that anyone who applies to a job with a referral has a better chance versus someone who applies just blindly on the organization's website.
Right.
True. So let's take individual 1 and individual 2, right? Now, individual 1 has applied with a referral. Nothing wrong with it. Individual 2 has also networked, but has networked more consciously to be able to understand what roles he or she wants to get into, what organizations they want to get into, how they can find the hiring managers on LinkedIn, how they can find the recruiters, and has got to a point wherein they have been able to either identify the recruiter or a hiring manager. Okay, so now what has happened is that both individual 1 and individual 2 are looking forward to the same role. Now, individual 1 has applied with a referral, whereas individual 2 is now in conversation with the recruiter for that particular role or with the hiring manager. So before someone gets to that individual 1 to tell them, okay, you can interview for us, there's this individual 2 who's already in conversation with the decision maker, so they allow that person to interview. Right now, that is the power of networking. Okay. Also, the second piece, something that I had shared on my LinkedIn profile last week, is there is a very subtle hidden advantage of networking, which is that we often look at networking in terms of, okay, I've reached out to this person, I'm going to connect with so-and-so person, right? And that becomes our first level connection. However, what we don't look at is when I'm connected to someone at level 1, that individual is connected to their entire network. So even though I am not connected to their extended network, when their extended network post something, share something, and my first level connection, likes that post or shares that post, I have automatic access to it, even without connecting with those second level connections.
Exactly.
Which is a second piece that helped me, because I leveraged the holiday season in 2020. So typically in November and December, you will see not a lot of people will do a lot of work on LinkedIn. And that is where I was able to, in a layman's language, beat the traffic. Okay. And I put myself in that less than 2% category of individuals who actually networked extensively during November and December of 2020.
Okay.
Therefore, in January, when individuals were working out their budgets for the quarter, for the for the first 6 months, for the entire year, and they knew how many people they had to hire, I had already briefly interacted with them on a LinkedIn message, say in November or December the previous year. So instead of going out and looking for individuals whom they could source either from LinkedIn or from recruiting organizations, they just messaged me, right, that this is a role that we are opening. Are you still open to it?
Okay. Hey folks, wait, there is a special announcement. Newton School has started their full stack web development course. You can try and check that out in the description box below. It has mentioned all the details which will help you get upskill in the web development, and also this will be very good for getting yourself hired at startups and MNCs. So what are you waiting for? Try and check that out.
And that is how I had 11 interviews in 5 weeks. Awesome. And I did not apply to any of those roles. My applications to those roles were pure virtue of formality, because obviously an organization cannot interview someone who's not in the database, right? So, and the same thing even happened with Amazon. Okay, I had a recruiter reach out to me. I filled out a questionnaire, did that. They said, okay, interview is set. Since you're going to be interviewing, please apply so that we at least know that you're in the database and you're going to be an applicant, right? So this is the power of networking. However, it needs to be done consciously. Okay, what messages need to be sent? Make sure to always leverage add a note when you're adding a connection. And I think this is a big underutilized skill, where people tend to leverage the in-mail without realizing that an in-mail is only available to you if you're a LinkedIn premium user, which means you're paying for LinkedIn, right? However, LinkedIn has a free feature of add a note when you're sending someone a connection request.
Exactly.
So why not leverage that? Yes, it has a character limit, but it is more than enough for you just to introduce yourself and give a basic context of why you want to connect with someone.
Definitely, I agree.
And yeah, and a very, very important tip about networking is that never just say hi, hello, or a hey. Okay, it's uh, please understand that the person in front has a name. That name is unique to them. So when you are addressing the person, make sure to do so with their name. So you can say, hi Sarthak, hey Sarthak, hello Sarthak, whatever it is, right? But make sure to address that person by name, because then you are personalizing it. And the individual who's receiving your message knows that you've at least taken that extra 10 seconds to be able to pay attention to who they are. Because a hey can be for anyone.
Correct.
I can send it to the whole world, and there is no personalization, right? So
Right.
networking is more than just, oh, I'm looking for a referral. Networking is about understanding, because understand this, you may land up networking with a hiring manager for a role that you are looking for, and you may not know it at that point in time. But imagine, if you have a hiring manager like myself who is particular about communication, and I pay attention to the tone of voice, what language has been written, it'll be very easy for me to gauge what is the attitude of the individual.
Right.
So networking, like I said, it's not just about that referral, right? Your choice of words, how you're presenting yourself with what you are writing, is also showcasing what attitude you carry.
Definitely.
And whether or not that is going to be a good fit for the people that you are connecting with and the organizations that they are hiring for.
Right. I definitely agree. I think it makes a lot of difference, and this is the one way where you can stand out of the audience and crowd. And also, it's a chain reaction effect. It has some first order and second order effects that you can see day in and day out, where networking could be helpful in many different ways. The referral could be the
Absolutely.
primary intention, or maybe the primary motivation for a lot of
Which is
people.
okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because I think it'll be fair to say that 99% or 99.9% of the audience who got onto LinkedIn primarily did so when they were looking for jobs.
Correct.
Out of that grew a lot of other things, and if they were not looking for jobs, they were looking to, of course, build some sort of a community that would eventually help them get into a role that they would want for their further career. Okay. So that intention is fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's good, because there's something propelling you to network, right?
Right.
Whether it's a job, whether it's anything else, whatever it is, and it goes back to why you're doing what you're doing. And of course, as a result of that, but you need to think beyond that, and I think that's where a lot of people have a challenge, because it becomes very transactional. They're only looking at networking as a means to an end, but it really isn't that. It is much more than that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think you rightly mentioned that networking is very helpful. I have seen enough instances, and I think, to be honest, I had a good network at a time, and that led me to start this YouTube channel in first place. And then I realized that I should grow on this network, and could be one of the things. So I definitely recommend it. Helps you a lot in very different ways. So when I was moving for the first time at Bangalore, one of the one of the person that I networked via LinkedIn was able to help me out with setting up the few first things, and maybe finding a place and different things. So yeah, I truly believe that it could have a different thing. And I also believe that whatever you bring to the table, it should be a mutual growth in itself. As you rightly mentioned, nobody owes anything, and they are not obligated to reply to you. But if you have asked them in a very decent manner, and with as you rightly mentioned, with the tone of the message and everything, that results in a good reply, and the other person is also able to mutually grow with you, whatever value you add to the network and everything, right?
Absolutely. I think I'll just add to that. Well, the podcast today is product of networking, right? I have never interacted before with you. The first time I interacted with you was when I received your message. But obviously, you found me somewhere on LinkedIn, may have been because someone in your network must have liked some of my posts on LinkedIn or whatever. I don't know where it happened, right? But the fact of the matter remains that the ability for you and me to be able to impart this knowledge to a larger audience is also a product of networking. Right. So it isn't because you live right next door to me or anything like that, right? Nothing like that. So this is also a product of networking.
Right, I definitely agree. We have never met, we have never exchanged messages before this, and I think before we have never been part of the same organization or the same school, college, anything. But via networking, we were able to connect, and we are at this platform right now, imparting the knowledge. So it totally makes sense. Yeah. So folks, with this we come to the end of part 1 of this series. I hope आपको ये वीडियो काफ़ी अच्छी लगेगी. What are the details and learnings that Mandakini has shared? We will uncover more things about Amazon, product management culture, networking and everything in the second part of this video, which will be dropping tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.